Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in with us today on the Melon TV show. We have Laura Numeroff here on stage with us. Let's welcome her.
Hey everyone.
So, Laura, where are you from? Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, well, I am from Brooklyn, New York. I now live in Los Angeles, and I've been there for a while. I was born July the 14th, and we're not going to talk about the year. And I am the baby of the family. I have two older sisters. My oldest sister's name is Alice, and she is an English teacher at the middle school. And then there's Emily, and she is a fashion designer, and now she owns her own business. Yeah, so between the two of them, I have a niece named Nancy, and then I have two nephews, Charlie and Douglas.
Oh, well, awesome. So, what inspired you to write?
Well, whenever I was growing up, I was constantly surrounded by art and music and books because of my mother and father. My father worked in a telegraph company, and then my mother was a florist. She was a school economics teacher.
Okay.
So they loved to play the piano, sing, dance, art, and stamp collecting. The stamp collecting, I'm not sure where that came from.
Yeah.
But they loved that, so that's what they did. So my favorite things growing up, I loved a microscope, my 64 count box of crayons, and my library card, of course.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite books was Eloise by Kay Thompson. And then I also love Stuart Little by E.B. White and Dr. Seuss's Cat in the Hat book. Excuse me. And then funny thing is actually the three publishers who published each one of those books actually have published some of my books today.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. But it all started actually when I was 15, and I first wanted to become a fashion designer.
Oh, really? A fashion designer?
Yes. So I got accepted into the program, and I hated everything about the fashion career. I didn't like any of it, so I started taking random classes. And one of my random classes was writing and illustrating. And actually, one of my books in there was published.
Oh, wow.
So then I thought, maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing for my career.
Yeah. So, how did you decide what kind of children's books to write? Like what genres, themes, subjects?
So, before I wrote If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, I wrote 10 other books before that. None of them really took off. They were all published, but it wasn't anything big, which I was okay with. And so when I wrote If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, it became popular so fast. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I wonder why this book and all my other ones, why this one became so popular. So I found out that teachers love this book because it is like a circular book, meaning it roughly ends where it starts. So in the famous book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, at the beginning, he talks about if you give a mouse a cookie, he'll want a glass of milk. And at the end is very similar. Sorry. He'll ask for a glass of milk, and chances are, if he asks for a glass of milk, he'll want a cookie to go with it. So that's kind of where that started. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start writing this series then, and stick with the general fiction picture books.
Okay, so that's really great, Laura. So, did you win any awards for these books you wrote?
I have. For If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, I've won 5 different awards. A couple years ago, this book actually went into the Hall of Fame, so I was very excited about that. And then 3 of my other books, If You Give a Pig a Party, and If You Give a Pig a Pancake, and If You Take a Moose to the Movies, all 3 of them have also won awards.
Oh, great. So, obviously, you're a very, very talented person.
Thank you.
So, after all of this that you've accomplished, what is something that you will never forget in your career?
So, a few years ago, 2 art teachers got in contact with me and asked if they could use my If You Give a series as a day that they do every year. Mm-hmm. So it's called A Very Special Arts Day, and over 600 children had arrived to this one. Every child had on a shirt with one of my characters on it. A little boy had actually drew all of the drawings on the shirt, and the little boy had cerebral palsy. So I got there, and all the band was marching around the field, and there was a mouse dressed up, or a guy dressed up as a mouse, and there was somebody dressed up as a pig, and then there was also little girls dressed up as chocolate chip cookies.
Oh.
And then I followed in behind them in a red Camaro, like the little red caboose, and the whole crowd was cheering and waving, and it really brought tears to my eyes then. So we got up to the stage, and two little children sang songs. And then we played games. There was different games. There was a mouse macaroni necklace making game, and there was a moose muffin toss. All of the games there had come from my books. Somehow or another, they made up different games. It was seriously the best day ever.
Well, that's awesome. So this truly touched my heart, and just hearing about it. So do you have any books that you could share with us, maybe to tell us like how we could use it for our children or even teachers?
Yeah. So, of course, the famous If You Give a Mouse a Cookie book here. I really like to use this in math. I always thought it was a good idea for kindergarten, especially when they're learning how to count, when they're learning how to add. You can always use the different chocolate chip cookies here, and they can add them, subtract them, just count whatever needs to be done there. And this really engages them. I mean, to use a book with cookies and a mouse, I mean, who wouldn't be excited about that? Language arts, I thought would also be great. You could see the different responsibilities the characters have, who the different characters are in the book. I think this book is one that has like limitless opportunities to use in the classroom.
Well, thank you for those great suggestions. So, thank you, Laura, for coming in today. We've enjoyed having you on the Melon Show.
Thank you.
You're such a talented author and illustrator, and you're truly inspiration to all your young readers out there. So, thank you for joining in.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.